This exercise is going to require a foam roller. This is a gentle fascial release for your lats and your serratus. I don't do a lot of heavy duty foam rolling, kind of grinding on the tissue, or aggressive trigger point release. In my training and education, I believe that some of the aggressive work actually tends to do more damage to the fascial tissue and can create adhesions, which over time can actually make that area worse. There's a reason that you have to continually roll the same area. If it were working, you wouldn't have to do that anymore, right? So when we talk about using the foam roller or other kinds of equipment in order to release the fascia, we want to think gentle, we want to think soft, we want to think melting, easy. Anytime that something is so aggressive that it creates pain, like sharp pain that causes you to hold your breath or wince, you're stimulating your nervous system into fight or flight. And as we've learned with the fascial system, anytime we start to overstimulate that nervous system into fight or flight, it's actually going to cause our fascial tissue to tighten up and tone. The whole purpose of things like foam rolling or using balls and things of that nature to release tissue is to release tissue, not to make it tighter. So regardless of what you're using, whether it's a roller, balls, any other kinds of, there's all kinds of new fancy equipment out there for trigger point release and kind of self-massage and things like that. Less is more. You're going to get farther being more gentle, taking your time, working with your breath, allowing the tissue to melt and release over time with heat, because you're going to start to create heat in the body as we apply that pressure, versus really fast, aggressive movements or pushing and grinding into the tissue in a way that causes your body to tighten and tense up. So when you do this exercise, using something that is softer may be necessary. This roller is a little bit harder. So if you only have a stiff or harder roller, you may want to put a towel or something soft over it just to try to soften up the surface a little bit. But I also encourage you to just get a softer roller so that you can work in a more gentle way with your tissue. So to begin, we're going to take our roller, and this could be a whole length roller. It could also be a half roller. And we're going to start with it right underneath of our armpit. So I like to come into the sideline position with my knees up high. And I like to just rest my head on my hand here. So what happens is that a lot of times people are up here and they're holding their neck, and you start to get fatigued and it hurts the neck and shoulders. So we're just gonna take that out of the equation. We're gonna put that elbow on the floor and just prop your head up on your hand. Let your neck relax and just rest your arm on your side. Now from here, we're starting like right in the meat of the armpit with the roller into our armpit. You're just gonna kind of take a lay of the land to begin. So just sink into that roller and nice and slow, kind of rotate your body forward, come forward into the chest, and just kind of see how that feels, noticing areas of tension, sharpness, or pain. And then nice and slow, we're just gonna slowly roll back, taking a lay of the land, seeing what's in there. So now that elbow is going to come up. You're still going to rest your head in your hand. And then again, just come back forward again, move around a little bit, maybe just a little bit higher or lower, just feeling around for where those spots are. And then again, coming back, moving maybe up or down a little bit as you move through the area and looking for those areas that are really tense. So right here for me is an area that's really tense. It's pretty sharp there, but it's not so sharp that my body's tensing up or my breath is changing or I'm pushing back. So I'm gonna find that spot. I'm gonna stay right here. And then I'm just gonna hold my tension, my pressure on that area, and I'm gonna start to breathe into that spot. So I'm gonna bring my breath right up into that area and just let my exhale go. And as I continue to just work with those nice deep breaths through the nose, I'm just sinking, right? I'm just allowing that tissue to melt over the roller. And then I'm gently gonna kind of nudge it around a little as it lets up. Okay, here's another spot. And same thing, I'm just gonna work with that breath and just allow the tissue to melt over the roller. And what you'll find is that by being patient, taking those deep breaths and not being too aggressive with the tissue, that it will release relatively quickly. And so your goal here is that you're just working through some different ranges of motion, coming to the front gently, slowly coming through, going to the back, always finding those spots. Maybe it's a little higher, maybe it's a little bit lower. And then just pausing and breathing over the area. So we're working the whole area of the armpit, and then we're just gonna start to come down a little bit lower towards that heart rate monitor strap, towards that bra strap area. And again, take a lay of the land. You're gonna come to the front, see what's going on in there, gently roll to the back, see what's going on, and start to find those spots. So right there's a spot for me. So nice and gently, I'm just gonna hang in that spot. I'm gonna breathe into it, letting those exhales go, and just letting my body sink into the roller, maybe nudging it around gently. And then as it releases, I'm just gonna continue looking around. So I'm gonna go a little bit lower. Now for this exercise, the lowest that we're gonna go is really that kind of heart rate monitor strap, bra strap area. We don't need to go lower than that. We don't wanna start working down into those lower ribs. They have a tendency to be a little bit more fragile. So we're gonna stay from that heart rate monitor strap area all the way up into the armpit, working on the sides, working through the front, and also working through the back, and just gently finding those little areas right there, taking those nice deep breaths, letting the tissue melt, and just kind of gently, slowly nudging it around. So what you'll find here typically for most people is that one side can be worse than the other. You can also find that the sides are just very different, where you find those fascial adhesions, where you find those spots of tension. So just know that patience with your roller or with your trigger point devices is really the name of the game. You want to go slow, you want to take your time, you want to just think of taffy or butter melting with whatever it is that you're using. And you never want to push to the degree that you're compromising your breath, that you're scrunching your face, that you're pushing through it. Right? This should be a feel-good release so that we actually get that tissue to change and that we don't create more adhesion and more damage to the area.